K-A-S-H, cash, is more important than money and generates C-A-S-H, cash. In this educational episode, I'm going to address why you should pass on more K-A-S-H than C-A-S-H to your heirs. Get ready. This is going to blow you away. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been helping thousands of people optimize their assets, minimize taxes, and empower what I call their authentic wealth for nearly 5 decades. And I've been very blessed in my career to have met some very, very successful people, many multimillionaires and several billionaires. And it's interesting because they come and oftentimes their life is a little bit out of balance, maybe because they've been spending a lot of their health, accumulating their wealth, and later in life, they're going to spend all their wealth trying to regain their health, or maybe they accumulated their financial wealth at the expense of relationships with their spouse, their kids, their grandkids, or their God, or whatever their belief is of a higher power, and they're always going, Doug, what was all this for? I'm not going to take any of this money with me at the end of the day. And so I agree with them and I go, yeah, what we need to do is maybe rethink your thinking and let's make sure you pass down K-A-S-H even more than C-A-S-H to your children and grandchildren or the charities that you are interested in. And they go, what's K-A-S-H? Okay. So let's go through and make sure you understand where I'm coming from. And I'm going to use a little golf metaphor. And if you're not a golfer like I'm not, you'll still understand this. But watch what I'm talking about here. If you were going to be playing in a golf tournament, let's say, and you had the choice of using a professional golfer like Phil Mickelson's swing, or you could use his clubs, what would you choose? Well, I'd rather have his swing, not the clubs. See, I've noticed as a financial strategist that most financial advisors seem to focus on the clubs or the commodity, buy this mutual fund or this stock or bond or gold or silver. It's not in the commodity, folks. It's in the strategy. It's in the swing. I've noticed that most estate planning attorneys seem to focus on dividing up the golf clubs and the trophies, so to speak, among your kids and grandkids when you die. I'd rather leave behind how to fish to my kids and grandkids than dumping a bunch of fish in their lap. I want them to be self-reliant, to never be unemployed, because unemployment is a mental condition, not a physical condition, okay? So that's why I approach things from 3 dimensions. There are 3 dimensions of what I call authentic wealth, because when we say the word assets, most people think of, their house or their real estate or their cash or stocks or bonds. But when you think about it, those are just things. Those are just material possessions. So I put these under the financial assets. But whenever I ask people, what are the most important assets that you value, that you cherish, that you possess on this earth? They know I'm not talking about money. They usually say family, relationships, health, our beliefs, our values. Yeah, these kinds of assets involve people. We call these human assets. They are our core assets. I put these under the foundational assets for abundant living. They would also include such things as your heritage, your talents, unique abilities, charitable foundations, and so forth. Now, there's a 3rd dimension of authentic wealth that involves the wisdom that we gain throughout our life, and that's our intellectual assets. Wisdom is a product of knowledge times what? Experiences. Just the good ones? Have you learned more from your bad experiences like I have? It would also include your formal education, reputation, methods, systems, traditions, alliances, ideas, and skills. So these are the 3 dimensions of authentic wealth. It's like a 3-legged stool. But whenever I ask anybody, if you had to let go of one of those 3 dimensions, one of those 3 categories of assets, financial, foundational, or intellectual, but you could keep the other 2, but you had to let one go and start all over, accumulating that one. But you could keep the other 2 and transfer them into future generations. But you had to bankrupt or let go of one of those 3 categories and start all over. Which one would you let go of? Now, abundant-minded people immediately say, the money. Yeah. Why would you let go of the money? Because you can rebuild that one using the other two, the intellectual and foundational. In fact, most religions on planet Earth believe we come to this earth possessing these assets to one degree or another. If you believe in a life after this one, like I do, these are the ones you return to your maker and report on. Have you ever figured out how to take the money with you when you die? There's no luggage racks on hearses, as the song says. So that's why at three-dimensional wealth, we focus on all three dimensions. I take the wobble out of people's life because sometimes they're just focused on money, 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 and they're bankrupt in the other two areas, and at the end of the day, they regret it. Some bodybuilders are focused on only their body, and they're bankrupt in the other two areas, and once they've won their medals, 3 weeks later, they're ready to take their life because their purpose is done. Folks, this is where I compare it in a book I want to gift you, so stay with me to the end of this episode. I'm going to gift you this 200-page book. It's called Entitlement Abolition. And so in here, I talk about this concept, and I compare the Vanderbilt family with the Rothchild family. Now, I don't endorse these families by any means, but they will illustrate my point. Cornelius Vanderbilt was like the Bill Gates of his time, or the Elon Musk. Okay, he was the richest man on earth. When he died in 1877, he built his wealth with steamships, railroads, the transportation industry. But he wasn't very philanthropic. He only left behind less than 1% of a $105 million fortune, $1 million to Central University, which became Vanderbilt University. Do you know it took 96 years until 1972 before 120 of his descendants gathered together at Vanderbilt University for their first family reunion? And there was not a millionaire left in the bunch. It was all gone. Shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. They were rolling up their shirt sleeves. The fourth generation is like, what? We're now one of them? We have to work? Yeah, pretty sad. Now, it's just not unique to them. In Asia, it's rice paddy to rice paddy in 3 generations. In Europe, it's clogs to clogs in 3 generations. This is a universal problem. If you just dump it in your posterity's lap, it ruins probably about half of them. And they get this entitlement mindset, when do I get my share? Okay. So folks, this is William K. Vanderbilt, a grandson. He said, it has left me with nothing to hope for. Nothing definite to seek or strive for. Inherited wealth has been a real handicap to happiness. Whoa. Now see, I contrast that mindset with Mayer Amschel Rothschild, who died in 1812. Now, I don't endorse the Rothschilds family, but he built a banking dynasty in Europe. They had 5 sons that they assigned each to European capitals. They would communicate back and forth with homing pigeons, when to buy and when to sell. The point is this: when he died, he did not leave behind an inheritance or some entitlement to his family. He left behind a system, a repository. I call it a family bank. Now, it's not a chartered bank like down the street. It's a conceptual bank, a repository where he captured the knowledge, attitudes, skills, and habits. He left behind how to fish instead of just dumping a bunch of money in their lap. And there were 3 basic rules in this family bank. Okay, they loaned their heirs money, and the loans had to be repaid. So if you needed help with the college education, you had to apply, you had to get good grades. If you got approved, like a student loan, the family bank may match or loan you, but you had to pay the loan back when you graduated from college and started earning money. It wasn't just a handout, okay? It was there to give them a hand up. And so if you wanted to go into business, you could go in with the family bank in a joint venture, and later on you could buy out the family bank for then the value, but there wasn't any special favors, so to speak. They required skin in the game, okay? When I went to college, I had different scholarships, but I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken 30 hours a week in order to get through college. My wife worked at a bookstore, and it's because our parents couldn't afford to pay for our college, but didn't expect them to. A lot of our friends, their parents just shelled it out, and a lot of them just goofed off. We had way better study habits than a lot of our friends. And so my wife and I, we didn't want our 6 children to ever think that we would just pay for their college. We gave them equal opportunities, which I talk about on this channel. meaning that if they got a scholarship, we might match it. We might loan them money, and we provided ways where they could pay it back with money or shampoo carpets or mow lawns or whatever. They had to have skin in the game, and they actually really appreciated taking ownership in their college education. The second rule is the knowledge and experiences those heirs gained had to be shared with other family members. Horizontally, not just vertically. This wasn't parents to kids to grandkids secrets. This is aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, because sharing is having more. If you did not share both good and bad experiences so future generations could learn, then you were out of the loop, okay? The third rule is the family gathered at least once a year, like a family reunion, in order to reaffirm its virtues and intentions and what charities you're going to give to, what you believe in, and what have you. If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. If you didn't do that, if you just sort of left the family and you were out of the loop, okay? Guess what happened to the Rothschilds' wealth is the point. It grew and flourished, whereas the Vanderbilt fortune dissipated and disappeared. That's the difference, and that's why I share the stories in the book. So when we talk about these three dimensions, I talk about like it's a great big A, which stands for abundance. And so this is the three-legged stool. I talked about it here a moment ago. You have the financial dimension, you have the foundational assets, you have the intellectual assets. And so I'm very passionate about helping people like you stay balanced so that these assets here can stay in balance and harmony. And what I just talked about is how you can have like a perpetual cash fund. You notice cash is K-A-S-H. What does it mean? This is like the family bank where you can make deposits and withdrawals of not just money, but also your wisdom, okay? Your experiences here. So this cash is more important than just leaving behind a bunch of money or CASH. This is the swing. Instead of dumping a bunch of clubs in their lap and trophies, that's not going to do them any good. I want to leave behind how to fish. And so your knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits, spells one of my favorite acronyms, CASH. I think it's more important you pass this down. In fact, if I only pass down that, they will have money. But if you just dump money in their lap, you'll probably ruin half of them because this is the swing. If you just drop money in their lap, that's leaving behind the clubs. Does that make sense? So this is where in my books, and I want to gift you a copy of a book that talks about this. If you focus your family around this concept and you are helping them understand how to be wealthy, healthy, and wise in all three dimensions, how to live, love, learn, give, and earn, okay? When you do that, watch what happens to their mindsets. They won't be sitting around with a handout. Hey, can I have what you pay for? When do I get my share? You can abolish the entitlement mindset. So that's why we call this channel Three-Dimensional Wealth. Many people come to this channel to learn about the financial sort of asset optimization strategies. But really, these two bring it all into balance and harmony. So that's why I'm very passionate about what I call the legacy dimensions, capturing the intellectual and foundational assets, and making sure you pass down the KASH, knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits, which is more important than the CASH. That is why we believe it's more important that values are understood before the assets are valued. Does that make sense? If this is resonating with you and you want to learn more, I would love to give you a copy of this book. Here's how you can claim your free copy. It's 200 pages. It's called Entitlement Abolition: How to Lead Your Family from Me to We. Together we're better, okay? An abundance mindset, and abolish the entitlement mentality. You simply go to entitlementabolitionbook.com and you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost and I'll pay for the book. I'll fire out a copy to you. They're $20 on Amazon, but I'm going to gift you a copy. If you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, there's audio and video options there too. And check out even a masterclass on this. We teach educational webinars, but this is about you and your brighter future, and I hope you will enjoy.